Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast continent where ancient deserts meet turquoise oceans, where bright sunlight falls over endless landscapes, where the wind carries stories older than recorded history. And as you slowly take a deep breath, you realize this journey into Australia is not just a travel experience but a cinematic feeling, a sensory adventure that begins the moment your imagination arrives on this enormous landmass sitting quietly in the southern hemisphere, a continent that is also an island, surrounded by oceans so blue they look unreal, home to coastal cities filled with life and remote wilderness untouched by time, where your footsteps feel guided by a mysterious force older than civilization itself. Australia is a place where the earth speaks, where nature whispers through warm breezes, where red sand remembers ancient voices, and before anything else, you must understand that this land holds one of the longest continuous human histories on the planet, with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples living here for more than 60,000 years, shaping the land, preserving sacred sites, painting stories on stone and on memory, and following a deep spiritual worldview called the Dreamtime, a belief that the earth, animals, rivers, skies, and people are all connected through creation stories that are still alive today, making Aboriginal culture not something in the past but something present, meaningful, and foundational to what Australia is. Then history shifts with the arrival of Europeans, British colonization beginning in 1788, the establishment of colonies, conflicts, challenges, and eventually the development of a modern nation influenced by waves of migration from Europe, Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and every corner of the world, shaping Australia into a multicultural society where people from different backgrounds live together with surprising harmony, creating a mix of cultures, food, languages, and traditions that make Australian cities feel diverse and global while still uniquely Australian. Imagine walking through streets where you hear English spoken with that friendly Australian accent, but also hearing Chinese, Arabic, Italian, Greek, Hindi, Vietnamese, and dozens of other languages reflecting communities built by immigrants over decades. And although English is the official language and the language of daily life, Australia celebrates linguistic diversity while still protecting Aboriginal languages that carry ancient knowledge about land, seasons, and spiritual identity. Religion here is also diverse, with Christianity being historically dominant, but modern Australia includes Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, Judaism, and many people who identify as non-religious, creating a society where belief is personal and freedom of religion is respected, allowing traditions from many cultures to live side by side. And as you move further in your mental journey across this giant landscape, the geography begins to feel like a film you're walking through, because Australia is massive, covering mountains, rainforests, deserts, islands, and thousands of kilometers of coastline, each region painting a different picture and offering a different climate. The outback stretches wide and lonely, glowing red under the sun, filled with ancient rock formations and endless skies that make you feel small and humble. In the north, tropical rainforests breathe with life and humidity, feeding rivers and waterfalls. In the south, cool winds sweep from the Antarctic, creating a climate perfect for vineyards and green hills. And while some areas are extremely dry, others receive heavy rainfall, making Australia a land of contrasts where every step reveals a new environment. But most Australians live near the coast, especially in the major cities that shine like modern jewels against the vastness of nature. Sydney with its sparkling harbour, iconic opera house, and golden beaches where surfers chase rolling waves. Melbourne with its culture, street art, coffee obsession, music scenes, and creativity flowing through every corner. Brisbane warm and subtropical, friendly and growing fast. Perth isolated in the west, modern and sunny with a relaxed pace. Adelaide charming, artistic, and close to world-class wine regions. Canberra not the biggest city but the political heart, home to national institutions and museums, and Darwin in the tropical north, a place where Indigenous culture, Asian influence, and adventurous spirit blend together. Each city offering a different flavor, a unique rhythm of life, and a chance to experience Australia through different cultural lenses, yet all sharing that laid-back lifestyle that Australians are famous for, a lifestyle shaped by sunshine, freedom, and a general feeling that life is meant to be enjoyed rather than rushed. And speaking of enjoyment, Nature here is not just scenery. It's alive and unforgettable. The Great Barrier Reef in Queensland, one of the world's most stunning natural wonders, a living underwater paradise of coral and marine life, glowing with colors, home to sea turtles, fish, and mysterious ecosystems. Uluru in the Northern Territory, rising from the desert as a sacred symbol, glowing red during sunset, holding deep spiritual meaning for Aboriginal people. Tasmania full of rugged forests, mountains, and wildlife that feels ancient and untouched. Kakadu National Park rich with crocodiles, wetlands, bird life, and ancient rock art. Kangaroo Island with koalas, seals, and untouched coastline. And along the coasts, whale migrations, dolphin sightings, and beaches that look like postcards come to life, reminding you why nature is one of the main reasons people travel to Australia. And in this journey, you'll also notice how wildlife here is unique. Kangaroos hopping through open fields, koalas sleeping in eucalyptus trees, emus wandering across plains, the adorable quokka smiling in photos on Rottnest Island, and strange but magical animals like the platypus, showing that evolution took a wonderfully creative turn in this isolated continent. And while these landscapes and creatures make Australia feel like a dream, the country's economy brings it firmly into the modern world with strength and stability built on industries like mining, agriculture, technology, tourism, renewable energy, and education, making Australia one of the world's most developed nations with a high standard of living and opportunities for innovation. Australians invented amazing technologies including Wi-Fi, ultrasound imaging, the black box flight recorder, and even life-changing medical discoveries, showing how a relatively small population can contribute massively to science and global progress. Education in Australia is respected worldwide, with universities ranking among the top globally and attracting international students who want high-quality education in a welcoming environment, making cities multicultural hubs filled with students from Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and beyond, who often describe their time in Australia as life-changing. Tourism also plays a huge role in the global identity of the country, with millions visiting every year to explore beaches, deserts, reefs, national parks, and vibrant urban life, with tourism experiences ranging from luxury to backpacking, from surfing lessons and snorkeling to long road trips along famous routes like the Great Ocean Road. And during all of this, you feel Australia's lifestyle, a beautiful balance of work and leisure, where people value time outdoors, family gatherings, barbecues, sports events, and beach days, reflecting a culture that isn't built around stress but around enjoying life, being friendly, respecting personal space, and taking things at a comfortable pace. Although the cost of living can be high in major cities like Sydney and Melbourne, especially housing and rent, but the clean environment, strong economy, healthcare system, and overall quality of life outweigh the costs for many people. And food becomes a story of multicultural identity, from fish and chips at the beach to modern fusion cuisine, from traditional Aboriginal ingredients to Italian coffee culture, Greek tavernas, Asian noodles, Middle Eastern flavors, seafood fresh from the ocean, and unique Australian foods like Vegemite, which some love and others don't. Lamingtons, pavlova, and barramundi fish. Australians also love sports more passionately than you might imagine: cricket, rugby, soccer, tennis, and Australian rules football, and of course surfing, which feels almost like a way of life along many beaches. And while experiencing all this, you begin to understand why Australia is so respected around the world. Not only for its nature and tourism, but for its values of democracy, peace, environmental protection, and global cooperation, and why its passport is one of the strongest, allowing Australians to travel to many countries visa-free, reflecting a respected global position. And as modern development continues with renewable energy projects, smart city planning, infrastructure improvements, and technological progress, Australia looks toward the future while holding tightly to its natural heritage and indigenous culture, showing a commitment to balance between growth and preservation, making the world admire its progress and love its beauty. And as you keep following this long cinematic journey through the heart of Australia, you realize that this nation is both ancient and modern at the same time, both peaceful and adventurous, both relaxed and ambitious. And this combination creates a feeling that is difficult to describe yet easy to fall in love with. Now picture yourself moving slowly along the East Coast, where stunning beaches stretch endlessly, golden sands warmed by gentle sun, surfers riding playful waves, children building sand castles, seabirds calling above the water, and behind the coastline tall modern buildings shimmer under the blue sky, showing how urban life and nature mix here in harmony. And then imagine turning inland toward wide deserts glowing red and orange as the sun sets, where silence becomes a language and the night sky fills with countless stars shining above you like diamonds in endless darkness. And as you look up, you might think about those same stars watched by Aboriginal ancestors for thousands of years, guiding their journeys, creating stories, and explaining the universe through art, music, and ceremony. And in that moment, you feel a connection to Australia that goes far deeper than sightseeing. And yet the experience continues, moving south into cooler climates where vineyards line rolling green hills producing wines enjoyed around the world, the kind that gather people at picnic tables beneath warm afternoon sun. While somewhere else, in a modern city cafe, a barista crafts a perfect flat white coffee for someone in a hurry, showing how ordinary life here feels quietly joyful, peaceful, and full of gentle pleasures. And when you reach Western Australia, massive open landscapes make you feel as though you're standing on the edge of the world, gazing at endless ocean and rugged coastline where waves crash against cliffs shaped by millions of years. And if you travel far enough north, warm nights and monsoon rains create a tropical rhythm unlike anywhere else in the country. And this is what makes Australia so fascinating. Every region feels unique, yet connected by a shared national spirit, a friendly attitude, a relaxed confidence, and an always present sense of nature that seems to remind people to breathe, slow down, and appreciate life. And it is in these moments you begin to understand the deeper culture of Australia, not just the cultural events and the languages and the food, but the everyday spirit of equality, friendship, and freedom, where people are encouraged to be themselves, where diversity is celebrated, and where new ideas are welcomed with open minds. The result is a nation that continues to evolve, shaped by the voices of Indigenous leaders calling for recognition and understanding, shaped by young generations passionate about climate action and protecting the environment, shaped by immigrants bringing new traditions, and shaped by communities working together to build a better future. And this future includes education that opens doors around the world, research that pushes scientific boundaries, and innovation that benefits humanity. And as you walk through university precincts in cities filled with international students, you hear conversations in many languages. You see research labs developing new technologies. You watch students laughing together on green lawns under the sun, and you begin to realize that education is not just an opportunity here. It's a bridge between cultures, pathway that connects Australia to every continent, making it one of the most attractive places for international students, and many who study here stay, build careers, and become part of the Australian story. And that story continues into modern achievements, whether it's cutting-edge medical research, digital innovation, space exploration partnerships, or renewable energy projects aiming to create a sustainable future, because Australia understands that the world is changing and feels responsibility toward protecting the environment, preserving natural wonders, and ensuring that future generations can enjoy the same beauty that travelers see today. And speaking of beauty, imagine diving beneath the surface of the Great Barrier Reef, seeing coral gardens glowing with color, feeling the peaceful movement of underwater life, and knowing you're experiencing one of the most precious ecosystems on Earth, a place that scientists and conservationists are working tirelessly to protect because its future depends on global awareness and action. And from underwater worlds to ancient mountains, the journey continues through places where you can almost hear the heartbeat of the land, like Uluru, where sandstone glows at sunrise and sunset, surrounded by desert silence that feels spiritual. And as you stand there in your imagination, you sense a cultural depth that cannot be measured in photographs or descriptions, a depth that belongs to the people who lived here long before anyone else, whose connection to the land continues today, inspiring respect and admiration from visitors and shaping Australia's identity as a nation that values heritage and Indigenous knowledge. And all this time, wherever you imagine yourself walking, you feel the kindness of people smiling at you, offering casual conversation, joking with a friendly mate, and making you feel like you're part of the atmosphere rather than a distant observer. And this friendliness reflects a culture built on respect, equality, and community, with a sense of humor that lightens life's difficulties and makes everyday moments feel enjoyable. And while there are challenges like anywhere, environmental concerns, social issues, and ongoing discussions about indigenous rights, the spirit of cooperation, democracy, and national pride creates a society that looks forward with hope, believing that positive change is always possible. And this hope is visible in modern development in new infrastructure, smart technology, renewable energy initiatives, and environmental projects aiming to protect endangered species and fragile habitats. And as the world watches, Australia continues to play a role in global discussions on conservation, marine protection, science, education, and international peace, earning a respected position among nations and a reputation for stability, fairness, and humanitarian values. And perhaps this is why the Australian passport is among the strongest, allowing its citizens to travel widely and freely, reflecting international trust and cooperation. And after absorbing all these layers, ancient culture, multicultural society, breathtaking nature, modern development, scientific achievements, strong economy, beautiful landscapes, friendly people, education opportunities, unique wildlife, delicious food, and inspiring spirit, you feel that Australia is more than a country, more than a destination, more than a holiday. It is a reminder of how beautiful the world can be when nature and humanity coexist in harmony, when diversity becomes strength, when history is respected, and when the future is built with vision and responsibility. And as your imaginary journey begins to reach its end, picture yourself standing once again on a quiet Australian beach, the ocean stretching endlessly in front of you, soft waves touching the shore, a warm sunset painting the sky in orange and pink. And as you watch the colors fade into twilight, you realize you want to come here in real life, not just in imagination, but with your own footsteps touching the sand, your own eyes looking at the stars of the southern sky, your own heart feeling the peace that this land offers, because some places leave a mark on your soul even before you arrive. And so I personally recommend that you travel to Australia at least once in your life, explore its cities, dive into its oceans, taste its food, learn about its indigenous heritage, and let the land tell you stories that will stay with you forever, because Australia is not just a place to visit. It's a place to experience, a place to connect with, a place that will remind you how extraordinary our planet truly is. And as you close your eyes and imagine that final moment standing in the Australian sun, let this thought stay with you. Sometimes the world's most beautiful destinations are the ones that change you from the inside out, and Australia is one of them.